Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode from the Copilot Chronicle series. My name is Rashmita, and I am the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. I'm here today joined by our very own host, Kamal, and our special guest speakers, Sandeep and Hema Chandu. But before we start the session, I would request you all to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section is open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Our speakers will answer all your questions during the session, so please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. With this, let me bring in Kamal into the stream and thank you all once again for joining us today and enjoy the session. Over to
Hey
you,
Rashmita,
Kamal.
how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Absolutely good. I'm just loving the Bangalore weather. How about you?
Yes, awesome. It's cold. I'm in my jacket, but loving it.
I know, I know. All right. Everybody, welcome to another series of Copilot Chronicles. And thank you so much again for the overwhelming response that we receive every day, whether to be as a part of a speaker or attendee telling that we have gained a lot of insight from these speakers. Why don't we have another part two series of the speaker session again? And also a lot of partnership kind of collaborations. So we are really excited to take this forward with few more series and few more change in the agenda and to get more diverse topics into the Copilot Chronicles. So thank you so much for all these responses. And without further ado, we will move on to the today's session, which is from two amazing speakers. One is Sandeep, and another is Hema Chandru. They're going to talk about transforming custom Copilot with enterprise knowledge. So welcome, Sandeep, and welcome, Chandru. So before I kind of hand over the session to you so that you can start off, I just want to give you a brief as to what this would session be all about. Like, definitely you're going to hear it from the expert. Well, I think as an organization where increasing adoption of AI to streamline your operations, because every day you work with it and you have to adopt AI for a more efficient way of working. It needs to be tailored. Okay, you say I have an AI, I have a copilot, but if it's not tailored properly, if it's not aware of the context solution, then there is no point of using it. So we have to have a more shelf AI copilots, a very powerful, or even a lack that specificity kind of is more met in our unique business needs. That's the way we are looking for. So I think this talk will kind of explore the next frontier transforming custom AI copilots by integrating with the enterprise knowledge. So we will dive into strategies like leveraging internal data, domain specific models, or securing deployment frameworks to create copilot that will kind of enhance your productivity, decision making, employee satisfaction. So, without further ado, let me not spoil the agenda of today's session. So, on to you, Sandeep and Hemachandu. So, looking forward for your session.
Thank you, Kamal, for that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Copilots Chronicles series, powered to you by this Microsoft Reactor series. Thanks, Kamal and Rashmita, for hosting us this week. An amazing week ahead for all of you. And let's get started with this session of this week in Copilot Chronicles. We are coming up with an interesting topic, which is transforming our custom copilots with enterprise knowledge. Let's see what we have today. And before that, we'll just introduce ourselves. I'm Sandeep. I have been working for Argano as an associate technical consultant. For the last 2 years, I have been into the Microsoft Power Platform, and very recently, I have also been transformed to the D365 technical developer as well, where I would be these days. I would be more into integrations between both the systems, both the D365 ERP and the Power Platform, be it using custom services or OData. I love doing more Power Automate and then Copilot Studio. building out custom agents and all. So that's simply about me, and I also have my colleague Hemachandu, and I'll give it a second for Chandu to introduce.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. Hope you all had a great day. And thank you, Rashmita and Kamal, for hosting a great session like this. And myself, I'm Hemachendu. I'm a technical consultant at Argano. So, from past 2.5 years, I've been working on a Power Platform under D365 CE business application. So, mostly I'm in a part of innovation team in Argano. I'm mostly working on the Argano AI initiatives as internal projects, and and also I've been a great hands-on experience of working with building out a PCF component, which are custom code components in the DE and the Power Apps, D365 and the Power Apps. So and also I do have a couple of experience working on a Salesforce before before the joining the Argano. So that's all about me. Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Chandu. So let's dive into the agenda today. Mostly, what Kamal had briefed about is what we are doing and what we have been discussing today in this topic. But to start with, we'll start with the Copilot Studio. What does Copilot Studio actually mean? And then we'll jump into authoring Canvas, where we'll actually start building out the Copilots or custom agents for us. And then let's dive into enterprise knowledge, like how do we connect our custom copilots or ground our custom copilots or agents with our enterprise knowledge. And then we'll also see some of the tips to uh, kind of work good with the generative AI, like kind of tips to improve the generative AI responses in our custom copilots. And then Chandu will be showing our a good demonstration over this in infusing this enterprise knowledge to custom copilots, and then we'll open floor for question and answers. So to start with Copilot Studio, it is a no-code GUI graphical interface for creating and distributing agents. Previously, it was called Power Virtual Agents in the Power Platform stack, but today, with the introduction of great and numerous features of generative AI and OpenAI capabilities, now this is transformed like from Power Virtual Agents to it now transformed to Copilot Studio, because we are not just building chatbots. Chatbots is a way far like these Copilot agents are more far and advanced than simple chatbots. So that when it introduced the OpenAI and generative AI capabilities, we are now calling them as agents or copilots. For that, in Power Platform, we have this Copilot Studio to build out these agents completely no code without any programming or coding experience. Would be building agents. So when you build an agent, it is by default you'll be getting the generative AI and conversational AI capabilities with the agents within the Copilot Studio. Also, we don't just have the capabilities to create but also to distribute our agents. End of the day, users must be using our agents and all. So to distribute or to channelize to these agents to different channels, we also have support to different channels, be it WhatsApp, be it Facebook, be it Slack channels, or be it Microsoft Teams even. So once you build an agent in the Copilot Studio, you also have options to distribute it to different through different channels to your end users. So as I said, natural language processing is the only thing that Power Virtual Agents has support for. But today, Copilot Studio not just the natural language processing, but also the generative and conversational AI capabilities. So when your user asks a question, it actually gets the data, and also it would be giving you a responses in a conversational tone. We all use ChatGPT today. So how it responds whenever we ask a question, it 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 responds like a human. So that human like conversations are now possible with creating agents in the Copilot Studio. But how do we get this data that we want? So enterprise data means whatever the data that we would actually uh, be in touch with in our day-to-day activities, whatever the data that we would use. So how do we connect this agent to generate the answers in a conversational tones, but that are grounded all in our knowledge sources, or but are grounded in our enterprise knowledge. That's what we'd be looking in a couple minutes, within a couple of minutes now from now. And there are also, when building a agents in the Copilot Studio, we would have a support for having the different conversation paths. So the conversation paths here are nothing but topics. We'll call them as topics. So we also have the ability to connect to external systems. Today, Copilot Studio also has the support to natively connect to some of the data sources, be it SharePoint, be it Dataverse. So, so as like in Power Automate, if you all have had an exposure to Power Automate, you all might know data connectors. So some of the connectors for some of the data systems like Dataverse, in-house data systems like SharePoint, and then Dataverse, we are all been getting that connectors directly straight away to the Copilot Studio. But even if you want to connect to external systems like SAP and all, you would be having some, you would be authoring some Copilot, like the Power Automates, and co- make your agents talk to your Power Automate flows so that you can get your data from external systems as well. And going forward, we'd also be getting some data connectors to directly connect to the data from the straight away from the Copilot Studio in future. And then we'll see what authoring canvas is. While Chandu will be demonstrating, he will be walking you through what is the authoring canvas and different components that we would see in authoring canvas. But on a high level, here is how an authoring canvas looks like, where we'll go to the topics and then start initializing different components into it. Be it asking questions to the user, be it responding to the user's questions through answers, or even with the adaptive cards. Adaptive cards like simple UI components that you could be embedded into the conversations as well. So that's about the topics, and knowledge is where we would be spending much of the time today in our demonstration anyhow. But the knowledge is where we would configure our enterprise knowledge to just ground the enterprise data. Uh, there is where we would be going. So now knowledge sources provides that. And then the actions are custom actions that you could do on behalf of the users. Not just answering the questions, but doing some actions is also possible when going into the actions tab and configuring our custom actions. And then analytics is all about how your agent is being behaving and how your users are using your agent. And then channels, as I said, you could distribute your agent after building to your end users. So channels is where you would be going to configure different channels to distribute your Copilot or agent. So here is how an authoring canvas looks like, and we'll also see more in our demonstration as well. Getting to the topic today of our interest, which is grounding or infusing the enterprise data to our custom copilots. It's nothing but answering the user's questions based on our enterprise data. It is also possible earlier, but not through the generative AI or conversational AI capabilities. Let me walk you through a simple scenario. Let's say our users ask a question, and then you would be picking up the key components from that user's questions, be it employee name or be it some ID, identifiers and all. When you would like to have the data from to fetch from your enterprise data, be it in SQL, be it in Dataverse, or be it in SharePoint, or be it in a public website and all, how do we actually get? When it was Power Virtual Agents, you must author a Power Automate flow to get the data from a users answers for our questions, and then fetch out using the different data connectors using a Power Automate flow. And then again you would be sending out those responses in some JSON strings and all. You would parse them and all, and then you would actually displaying it to your users in a topic. So you must author a topic, a customized topic for each conversation path. For each conversation path, you would having some questions, and you would be capturing user responses, and you would have a Power Automate flow to do all the logic and fetching out all the relevant data, filtering and all everything, and you would be actually displaying the data. But today, with the introduction of this knowledge sources, which inline works hand in hand with the generative AI capabilities. You don't need to author a specialized topic for each of the conversation path that your agent is going to talk with your end users. So let us say an example. You're building, we are all building a an agent for raising an IT ticket in our enterprises. Let's say we have an agent sitting in the teams, and the IT admins can interact with the agents to see what are all the tickets that they are on with their with them, and to solve those IT tickets. And employees, on the other hand, raise the IT ticket whenever there is a problem with their devices, software setup, and beat anything. So let's say we don't have any special topic for policies, IT policies. So be it every enterprise have their own policies, right? So be it device policies, or be it some software policies and some internal policies. So we don't have our agent answer those questions. When a user goes to your agent, and besides creating IT tickets, and admins beside actually getting the information about this all the IT tickets which are open, closed, and all, if they ask a question related to IT policy, our agent wouldn't be able to answer that question. To solve this problem, we don't need to a specialized topic that captures the user intent, that captures the user question about a policy, and then we would need a Power Automate flow and all, because we have this knowledge sources. By configuring a simple document with all the internal policies, and keeping it in a SharePoint site, and linking your SharePoint site to your agent, can answer those questions without even having a configuring or authoring a new topic within the Copilot Studio. That's how enterprise knowledge and grounding the enterprise knowledge actually to your agents would help us in our real time. So that's about the enterprise knowledge and grounding it to our custom copilots. So when I say enterprise knowledge, where is all the data coming from, and how Copilot Studio supports which data? That means it can come from Power Platform, it can come from Dynamics 365, which is ERP, and then we can also get the data from external websites, which are public websites actually, and also from M365 applications like SharePoint, very simple with SharePoint. So generative answers will be working hand in hand with these knowledge sources, so as to fetch the data and also respond to the user's questions in a conversational, human-like conversational tone. So we could use this feature not just for a fallback topic, but also as a primary source of answering the questions. Fallback topic is nothing but when our agent doesn't able to answer a question, a user's questions, we'll be using as fallback sources. Some of the fallback sources, if one question is not answered, this is where you would need to look. This is like configuring or telling our agent to fallback sources, but not just a fallback source, but for users primary source of answering questions, we could use this generative AI plus knowledge sources. So public websites, documents, graph connectors, SharePoint sites, and dataverse can be configured as different knowledge sources for our enterprise data. Public websites, we all know, uh, it is anything that is sitting in our in on the internet, sitting over the internet. Documents, you could beat a HTML document, beat a PDF, beat a Word documents. There are also 11 documentations for each of this connector, or each of this knowledge sources of how what are all the supported documents, what are all the supporting things with each and every knowledge source. And then the graph connectors which we would be using, we'd need to have some custom connectors over there, but today we'll all be focusing on all the other data source except graph connectors. Graph connectors is nothing but, well, whenever there is a support for one of the connector, we would be using uh, custom connector. We are creating a custom connector and then connecting to our agent to that particular connectors. But the other sources like SharePoint site, we all know SharePoint sites, be it a document library, or be it a communication site where all we provide all the information in our intranet. And the Dataverse is nothing but the in-house database for Power Platform. So these are all the sources that you could use for as a enterprise knowledge to ground our agents or co-pilots. So here we'll have a quick look or a snapshot of some of these knowledge sources, like all of these knowledge sources, and what are some descriptions over it. What it searches on, and what is the authentication for each of them. If we see public websites and documents requires no authentication of the user. Let's say uh, we have an agent and we have some of our end users have this access to our agent. If they have the access to the agent and our agent is using public websites and documents, they can right away get answers from these knowledge sources because they don't require any extra authentication for leveraging these both knowledge sources. But if our agent is configured to fetch information from SharePoint sites, Dataverse, or from Graph connectors, we would require our users for to authenticate themselves for the different knowledge sources. For say SharePoint site, so the user needs to have the right authentication through Microsoft Entra ID to that SharePoint site to be able to leverage this generative AI answers from our agent within our agent to have these answers getting from our enterprise knowledge. Same with the Dataverse and then also with the graph connectors. And some of the other key inputs here we are getting from is one thing that we could notice is there are 15 tables support for each. So actually there are two knowledge Dataverse knowledge sources that we can add for our agent, and each knowledge source of Dataverse can support up to 15 tables. So if you have relevant tables, related tables, if you have an account table, it might be relevant to other table called customers or some other tables. So to bind them all into one Dataverse knowledge source, so you can bind them, and 15 tables per knowledge source is acceptable in Copilot Studio currently. And also for SharePoint, it doesn't accept more than 4 URLs per a generative answers topic node. We'll get to know what is the generative answers topic node in our demonstration as well. And two per custom Copilot for graph connectors. So these are all provided in our Len documentation for each of the knowledge source. So that's about what is enterprise knowledge and how do we actually plug in our enterprise knowledge with this custom agents. Now we'll look into some of the tips where we would make more use of AI, because end of the day it is artificial intelligence that is uh, acting behind. Even though we ground our enterprise data, uh, the human like conversations are even the natural language processing, it is all uh, powered and driven by the artificial intelligence. So to make use of artificial intelligence to work better for us, there are some tips to follow, some best practices to do. Like for say let's say we are adding a Dataverse as a knowledge source for this for our agent. So adding appropriate and informative descriptions to that, what that knowledge source does, is a good tip for generative AI to pick the right data source or the right table for the user's questions. So here the knowledge descriptions, adding the knowledge descriptions is not a is not a optional thing to do, but it is mandatory, and it actually adds value to your end users ultimately, because this is a concept called AI orchestration. Orchestration is nothing but this our models are like whatever data sources we are adding, we are the knowledge sources we are adding, we are letting the AI know what to pick at the right time for the right question is what we are doing is called AI orchestration, to improve AI orchestration using this, adding the descriptions. And also there are different columns when we add a Dataverse table, right? So whenever we can have the synonyms for each of the column, it can also aid our AI orchestration to get in time, and in time it can pick up the right data source and right tables. When it comes to the data source, it when it comes to the column level, which column or which data field that it needs to be retrieved can also be dependent on whenever we use some of the synonyms and also glossary and also the descriptions to each column. Let us say we have a column named core competency. Core competency is nothing but what we call is a primary skill of a person. We will be delving deep into a business use case in our demonstration as well. But let's say core competency is nothing but our primary skill or the experience or the expertise of a person. So adding those related synonyms, as you see on the screen, for one of the column in a table, we would be adding related terms as a synonyms, so that when a user uh, questions, like when a user had a question with where where they would be needing some core competency of one of the people, if they use a term called expertise, primary skill, or a skill set, even the copilot or our agent is still be able to figure out this is the right column to get to the user, because we have provided the right synonyms. So to make use of the AI and the generative AI responses, these are some of the tips that we would need to be make sure of to configure them. So that's it with our presentation. Now I think Chandu is ready with our demonstration. We'll be having a business use case and we'll be solving that business use case. But end of the day, we'll be looking into different knowledge sources and how we would be configuring that for our different business problems. Over to you, Chandu.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for the brief introduction to the Copilot and brief explanation on the how the knowledge uses work. So, yeah, without any delay, I'll show you the demo of uh, how do we create a Copilot and how do we train a Copilot agent on a different type of knowledge sources. So, so this is the authoring Converse interface of the Copilot, where we have a home create. We can see the agents in our environments, the library. So whenever we creating a new agent, so we can we'll have an options to explore a pre-built agent, like a pre-built architecture of an agent. So for a different type of business use cases, we can make use of one of them, and we can always edit them, uh, edit edit the Copilot agents, and also we can add our own topics as well. So here is how we can create our new agent from the scratch. So we can always like once we create an agent sometime, so we can always edit the name of the agent anytime. We can always we can just type in any name, and we can always edit once it has been created. So it will not take much time, maybe less than a minute to create an agent. So, so here is our agent. Like it's still creating in the backend. So here's how the interface of the agent will look like in the backend. So here is we can find the topics, the all the topics what we have. So we'll be the agent will default created with uh, a lot of system topics which will help us like to start off the conversation, end of the conversation, as some of the escalation topics, the fallbacks topic. These are like the inbuilt topic which has been like created by the system. So here you see the overview of an agent, and here we can add the different type of knowledge sources. Here you see here we can add a public website. We just need to provide a public website link. The only catch here is the link cannot be more than um, a two steps deep, more than a two steps deep. We can just add in a link. We can just provide a link and just add. It's That's simple. And sometimes based on the website, the Copilot will take a few seconds, not more than a minute. Some based on the size of analysis what we have, it will take some time to index the knowledge source. The same way, we do have a SharePoint knowledge source. So the same way, likewise for the public website, the SharePoint URL cannot be more than a two steps deep. So we just need to provide the URL and add the knowledge source. So the different like the most interesting knowledge source is a dataverse. Here you say like we can use our own dataverse tables. Like Sandeep said, like we can add only 15 tables. We can select only up to 15 tables, um, and two dataverse connectors for a generative AI node. But however, like we can use multiple generative AI nodes on it uh, on a single trigger, or a single topic. So here is we just need to select the tables, whatever tables we need from the system. And so that's all, like we just need to give the brief description of the knowledge source. So what information it stores, um, and how we can also let the agent know like how it should pull the information from the tables. And also we can add synonymous here. For example, like if you are referring the category table, if you see the category column in the account, if we are referring like category as a in a different uh, scenario in our organization. For example, if in an organization like we're referring category as a table, so we can just add a synonymous here, like a type or something. And we can give a detailed description about the column, what information it contains. So once we all give the information, we can just add the database knowledge source. So likewise, and also we do have an option to upload a direct documents or files. So the supported like it will support only text-based files, which can be like Excel. We can upload an Excel files, Word documents, maybe PDF documents, and the lot of variety of the documents we can upload here. We just need to upload a document and add the knowledge source. So on the file, the upload file cannot be more than 512 MB. Uh, that's the only catch. And here are the topics. Like if we want to create a dedicated topics for our knowledge source, so we just need to come here and click on like create a topic from the blank, or even we can describe with Copilot how the topic should look like. So the Copilot will help us create a topics. So creating a topics, it will help us to focus and guide how the Copilot bot answers for any particular like, scenario. So this is how like we need to create a Copilot and configure the knowledge sources. Let me show you a demonstration of the use case that we have built the Copilot bot for the demo purpose. So the business case here is we'd be using this agent for the employee resourcing. So maybe in the organization level, where project managers can get employee availability information uh, just by interacting with an agent, and also he can get skills, and also employee availability on the certain skills. They might also be they can also know about the employee profile, and like what is the profile, I mean the employee experience, what are the projects they work on, what are the education background, a lot more stuff if we have the information in our knowledge source. Also whenever uh, and also we have an this agent trained on the policies, different types of policies that can project manager can look into when they assigning an employee to a project. So in this case all the information might not be at the one place. So we have created a different knowledge sources to store a different kind of information. So you see here like the employee's profile, we have stored them in the SharePoint site, and the employee allocation policies have been stored in a Word document. The employee availability and the skill set has been stored in a database and a public website. Uh, so let's quickly jump into the demo. So whenever a user come in, a user can directly interact with a Copilot. We no need to create once we add all the knowledge sources. We no need to create any topics or nothing. We can just directly came in and interact with an user. For example, if I want to look up anything. Mm. Any
Chandu,
any
sorry to interrupt. I think your screen is freezed. Can you refresh the browser so that it gets updated?
yeah, sure.
I could only see the homepage of the Copilot Studio.
Okay. Let me check. Looks like some network issue. Can you guys hear me now and see my screen?
I can see your screen. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Sunil. So let's continue with our demo. So we have a
I could
business
still
case.
see the agent space only. Are you
Yeah.
sharing the same screen?
Yes, Sandeep. I'm sharing the same.
Mhm.
So let's okay. Let's quickly jump on like search, type in any prompt and get the information. For example, if I want to uh, know about the what are the policy guidelines. So it's like since we are like testing it in a Copilot Studio development environment, sometimes it will take a while for the bot. It will take a while for a bot to generate the the response. So if we publish it in any channel, like a Teams or WhatsApp or any other channel, the response will be like very quick. So you see here, this information, we just got the information, policy information, which has been stored in the employee allocation, the Word document. So I just type in a prompt and it directly get into the conversational boosting topic. Mm,
No, Chandu. So you're still the screen is freezed. Or try sharing your window or the whole screen. It's
okay,
still in agents tab itself.
okay, okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the interruption, guys. So you see, I just type in a policy guideline. So the Copilot quickly went through the knowledge source, like the document knowledge source, and get the information of the regarding the policy guidelines for us. So what it does is like we did not create any topic or something. When we type in a prompt, it will directly go into the conversation boosting topics where we have it generated on this node with all the knowledge sources included. So it can like whenever we type in any prompt, it will search in all the knowledge sources what we have and find out the right information. You can also see in the bottom of the response, we get the citations of the knowledge source from where it's getting the information from. Likewise, if I say mm, so if you want to know what are the Ergonos services, so that information we have it in a public website. So see, uh, it just got us the information of the what are the uh, range of services that are going to provide. So likewise, even we can have if we want, like we can have a topic created for a dedicated scenario. Um, for the dedicated scenario, likewise, you see here we have a topic created which is employee availability. Uh, which is like this way, but to trigger a particular topic we need it. trigger phrases. Whenever we type in a trigger phrase, then only it will trigger the particular topic and mm, when I deep dive into the topic over here. See, for example, if I say check is the one of the trigger phrase for the topic. So whatever see you seeing on the screen, it's an adaptive code. So this way, like creating it topics will help us to enhance more UI options like adaptive cards. Um, in this way, like we can create a nice adaptive card with an UI. We can provide options to employees from where they can select. So you see here, if employee want to look up the uh, employee bandwidth, so here when I select the employee bandwidth, will get failed. This has been designed using an adaptive card. If I just type in a name, Sandeep, so it will get us the information of Sandeep availability. So this information have been stored in the database table. So here are the tables what we have for the employee records. So these are all the employees available. This information has been stored in the database tables, and it's we have this topic. We have a um, the generative AI nodes added to this topic. We can add like we can add a lot of generative AI nodes. So in here particularly we have only pointed out to a database table for to the database knowledge source. Likewise, the other way, if we want to look up the employee skills, we need to just type in a trigger phrase again. Uh, check. So if we want to look up for a available, like if we have a skill set for Azure, can just type in here. It will get us employees information who have the Azure skill set. See here, there are five employees um, with the Azure skill set. If you want to get the names, if you want to just get the name of the persons who have with the Azure skill set, so it will gonna get us the information uh, of the employees like with the Azure skill set. You see here, get all the information, all the employees with the Azure skill set. So these are the different like even in the SharePoint, you have a information like if you want to search for the profile. That information we have stored in the SharePoint side. If you want to get the profile of the Sunny, it will directly go into the SharePoint site and fetch the information for us. It's always that simple, like to create. You see here, it got us a primary skill set and the profile of the all the information that were available of the Sandeep. Uh, so not only this, like we can use this Dataverse connector, this Copilot with a custom knowledge sources on a different vast amount of like business requirement. Like if you want to get in any service industries, want to get any service agents information available in a particular location, we can uh, just ask Copilot in a right away. We can get the information in a few seconds instead of going and searching the website in the database. Even in the sales, if you want to get the revenue of the last month for any particular account, we can just type in here and get the information of the any account the revenue. Likewise, even we do have not only it's this Copilot agent is not only limit to this particular knowledge sources. Even we do have an option to create a custom connectors. For example, making we can also use an Azure OpenAI as our custom knowledge source. We see here in the classic data, we can uh, we can use Azure OpenAI service on our data. For example, if we can train we can add a custom connector of an Azure OpenAI. If we have a subscription to Azure OpenAI, we can deploy models like GPT 3.5, GPT 4.0, and make use those models in our Copilot. In that way, like we can even connect our Azure Blob containers data lakes as a data source. If we want to enhance like on our more security. So yeah, these are the different knowledge sources that we can like build custom knowledge sources that we can add to Copilot to build a powerful AI-powered Copilot chatbot within simple, easy, without using a single line of code. It's like it's like fingertips. It will not take more than to create a business scenario like this. It will not take more than an hour or two, and we can deploy it in our like it's simply we can just publish this Copilot agent on these channels, vast number of channels like Teams, Skype, Facebook, Telegram, and WhatsApp, whatnot. We can publish all this Copilot and interact with the Copilot on our mobile phone or anywhere or from anywhere just by publishing it in whatever channel we like. So, okay, and so this is the quick demo of the Copilot Studio and its custom knowledge sources. Hope it didn't, this session is was informative for us, and I didn't bore you guys. Thank you, and thank you
Yeah,
for the
I just
opportunity.
want your screen to be there, Chandu. I just want to
Okay.
reiterate the difference between the conversation boosting and also like while I'm telling, I have emphasized that we don't need specialized topics to be authored when we are having the knowledge sources. But how can topics can be improved? Let's see first how conversation boosting has shown. Chandu has already shown, but I just want to reiterate. Uh, for the in your test your agent Chandu, just can you click on that message? Can you click on that message? The response that it gave. Yeah. So it was actually fetched by the different data source, data source that we have configured. So this come out of a result of an unknown intent. So whenever we don't have a topic that users can be navigated when the user's question is not being answered by a topic, it gets into this particular topic, which is a system topic that gets by default when you create an agent and you enable your the knowledge sources and all. So once knowledge sources are enabled and configured, and if there is no specialized topic, it by default come to this conversational boosting topic, and it would be fetching it out all the data sources. Can you click the edit on the data sources node in the create generative answers node? Yeah, here is all our knowledge sources, be it Dataverse, public website, a document, or a SharePoint site. So this is the place for the a central place where we would have selected for all the knowledge sources. But how do topics can also improve that? Let's say we just don't want to have a prompt and then type a prompt for the user, but we would just want some of a UI for some common questions. For in this example, project managers can jump into this agent and then uh, take about the know about the employees availability. So this is the common request for this agent. For this common request, you just want a topic to be initialized and have some neat adaptive card that is displaying, but ultimately looking into your knowledge sources. For that, you can customize your topic like as you want, and then you could leverage the action called generative answers. So as Chendu is showing, we would have some topic related to that, and we have an adaptive card built out for some common requests and all. But ultimately what we did is we have the generative actions node, and we have added our knowledge source. But here, as we would know, this topic would answer a specific question. We would only add the relevant data sources over here. In conversational boosting, it is central topic where whenever the intent is not captured or whenever the user's question is not captured. But here, when we know the common request of the user, as we by now we have figured out what was the question it is relevant to, so we would only select the relevant data sources so that this particular topic would only be referencing the right data sources and will giving some tailored experiences for the users. So uh, that's it with our demonstration, and I would be opening floor for any questions. Thanks, Chandu, for the demonstration.
Thank you, Sandeep, and
Thanks.
thank you,
Yeah. Thanks,
Kamal.
Sandeep. Thanks, Chandra. That was an insightful session. Definitely, I got to know a lot of things about, even though I deal with Copilot, custom Copilot agents, and I've been working on it. Having a view on the enterprise side is definitely something which everybody has to understand. So we do have a couple of questions. So I
Mhm,
will take one by one. So one is, um, it's always a challenge, when it comes to deploying custom AI Copilot at a larger enterprises. So what are the challenges, or what are the criterias you take care of it, or what are the things that you kind of keep in mind, or few pointers that you'd like to discuss or share with us while deploying custom AI copilots at a larger scale within larger enterprises? Both of you,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm, yeah. It was a good question. Whenever we would be scaling for more users and we would be dealing with the larger data, uh, it is the first thing is to there is a support for different knowledge sources, be it SharePoint sites, Dataverse, and all. But not all the knowledge sources that has the support in Copilot Studio fits into a business case. So the first thing that we would be having a knack for or a knowledge for is which knowledge source can get us better uh, to get us better answers for our users. End of the day, we are giving an experience to our users. So in that perspective, we would be needing to know which knowledge source is better suitable for us. And then, as mentioned, so for a good experience and to make good use of our generative answers, we'll be using this AI orchestration techniques, be it having those descriptions, having those synonyms in place, and all. Any insights that you would add, Chandu or Kamal? Anything? Any other questions? Kamal, did I lose you?
I'm sorry, I was on mute and I was talking. That's
Okay.
usual.
No.
Okay. So yeah, thanks, Sandeep. That was something that we'll have to think when we kind of develop on a larger scale applications.
Mhm.
So yeah, the next one is like, how do you ensure your custom copilot kind of remains up to date with this evolving enterprise knowledge and process? Because every day it is getting updated. So what are that few criterias that you kind of keep in mind while you build this custom copilot when you're having an evolving enterprise?
Got it. So for some data source, for some knowledge sources like Dataverse, so it gets on huge data on a daily basis, be it transactional data and all. For that, for in specific to Dataverse, we wouldn't be any there won't be any specific measures that we would be taking. Be it also SharePoint sites, because in our example, we would be populating documents in a profiles site in the
Mm-hmm.
SharePoint site. So whenever
Mm-hmm.
we would be adding that, it automatically takes care of it. But only one measure we would recommend is, let's say we are moving into any sub-site in a SharePoint site, and we would be having that uh, as a new knowledge source, configuring that new knowledge sources, and also keeping in mind the depth of the SharePoint sites. Like uh, be it in a public website or a SharePoint site. And if you are moving data from one side to other, be ensure that you are having the right data source plugged in your Copilot Studio. Also, when we are referencing the public websites, it would be even looking into the subdomains when you have given a root domain for as a knowledge source. So yeah.
Absolutely, totally agree to that, Sandeep. I know how dealing with these kind of enterprise, huge, large scale, and day to day updates happening. How do you maintain it? So yeah, these were the few questions, and yeah, definitely few positive comments saying very relevant topic for the times. Thanks, Srini, for this comment. Um, and Sai also says, thank you so much, Sandeep. It was much insightful session. So definitely people are enjoying and finding it really insightful. So maybe we might come up with a part two if Sandeep and Chandru agree and they're really ready for to getting kind of diving more deep into the enterprise part of it. So thank you so much, Sandeep, Chandru. Again, it was awesome to have you on the Copilot Chronicle series. So thanks again, audience, for joining in. Stay tuned for the next series with another interesting topic, interesting speakers, as well as a domain. And finally, thank you, Rashmita, for being a great host. And see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.